Movies, please welcome Miss Gail Thomas. You know what you're doing.
I do know what I'm doing.
Yes, you do.
No, I do. It's funny. It's a backstory between her being supportive like that, is that I emailed her like every week saying, I think I'm going to tell this story. No, I don't think I have the right story. How about this story? And she's like, you'll be fine. I mean, I can tell a story. I teach storytelling, but I can't make up my fucking mind. There was just too many options. That's my personality. Indecisive option lady. So this story, I'm so happy to be here. And this story starts in July of 2020. I'm sitting in the back seat of my sister's car, fully masked because it's July 2020, and she just picked me up at the Denver airport. I live in Brooklyn, and I'm very excited to be able to see my mom again because she's 92, and actually she was 90 back then, but time is precious nonetheless. And I have my new little rescue dog, Desi, with me. I've had her for 2 weeks. And my sister Kay's being all perky. And it's clear to me immediately that people in Denver do not think COVID is as serious as we in New York know that it actually, in fact, is. But there's wide open skies, and I'm glad to have a break. And I'm, like I said, looking forward to Mom. And we get to Kay's house and walk in the front door. I'm still wearing my mask and holding my dog in my suitcase and like really kind of scared, honestly, because it's COVID and you know, I'm scared. And I see my lovely mom sitting at the dining room table that is our grandparents' old table that my sister inherited, and because she has more room than I do. And so I walk up to my mom and I give her this huge hug. Still got my mask on. And I pull back and I look at her, and then I take off the mask, and I just can't believe I'm face to face with someone, first off. And it's both amazing and terrifying. And unfortunately, most of the meals are in the backyard with the big open Colorado skies. And I start to relax. I get why they're not as worried. It is more open and safer. But there are other things to worry about. My new little rescue dog, Desi, is in the backyard with my sister's large golden doodle, labradoodle, whatever kind of doodle. And he keeps attacking her and going for her neck. And she's only been with me for 2 weeks. And she's like, oh, welcome to the family, Desi. And she yelps and runs away. And then the next day, I want to talk to you about your business. The next day, Desi pees on my sister's fancy oriental rug while my sister's on a conference call, because she's a mover and shaker, by the way. She is a CEO, an action taker, and you're an optimist. She's an optimist, and I'm like, it's a pandemic. There's nothing to be optimistic about. People are dying. I am a freelance writer, lawyer, overthinker, and I bought N95s in like freaking the first part of February. I figured out what mask to get before anyway. So. My sister runs out of her conference call, starts trying to fix the carpet, trying to rub it down, and I'm like, that's not what Google says, you're making it worse. And this was kind of how it goes. That evening, she and her husband sit across the table from me at dinner, and they say, you know, Desi's going to have to stay in a crate when you're in this house. And I feel like I'm in a crate, because I am not used to being around people. I am a chronic single person, no children, nothing, and I like my independence, but now I'm suddenly checking in. I can't borrow the car, I can't ride a bike, I can't do anything without going through my sister. And that's tough. One night she tells me that I'm the most difficult relationship in her life.
Oh.
And I'm like, why? Because I don't agree with everything you say? I mean, and then she tells me about how she's a good manager. And I said, well, I think we should work on this. And I like, it's not work, it's family. And I don't know if she wants to work on it, and I don't know if I want to work on it. It really doesn't feel worth it, right? But one night, or one Saturday afternoon, it's all sunny outside, and we're sitting at this cute little white bench that she has at the front of her beautiful home and sipping wine. And I asked, can you take a little constructive criticism? And I'm scared to death. And she says, okay. And I say, you know, sometimes when we're talking, I feel like you're criticizing everything I do, and you're sort of hovering around, and I can't do anything right, and this is how you do things here, and this is how you do things there. And she says, well, okay. She says, you know, I feel really defensive because I don't think I'm doing a good enough job with Mom. Because she is the sole caregiver. Mom had been in assisted living, but she had just moved in with them because of the pandemic. And that angle had never occurred to me. And I was like, no, you're doing great. You're doing amazing. I mean, you're doing everything. And about a week later, because I'm there for a while, she and her husband drive across the country to see her son and his new baby, and they're being very safe, and I'm happy about that. And Mom and I get some time to each other, and I'm thrilled about that because she's fun, and I make her laugh, and we do silly things, and yeah. And then one night, I get a text from my sister. Thank you for wearing masks, by the way. And she says, "Thank you" to me. Which, honestly, I practically dropped the phone because that's not common. And she texts me that she had had a conversation the last few days with her daughter-in-law, and she realized that she was being really critical. And she said, "I just want to thank you for pointing that out because I realized that I was doing that and I stopped. And I love you." And I picked up the phone and said, "I love you too." And when they got back, it's like everything had changed. She took me aside into her office and we started talking about how to take care of Mom and when would be the right time to move Mom back into assisted living. And I really felt like we were collaborating on this for the first time ever, honestly. And she was respecting my opinion. And I flew back to Brooklyn with that feeling in mind. And, September became what is it, August? And then September, yeah, you're right. October, November. And I was looking forward to December and Christmas. This is the Christmas part. I couldn't wait to get back and continue our bonding experience. But I started watching the news, and Fauci was not encouraging going home for Christmas and talking about how dangerous it was, and holiday gatherings were not a good idea. So I said, okay, I'm not going to come. And I bought a tree for Desi and I, and, again, I'm pretty good at being alone, so it wasn't that big a deal, honestly. I was like, this is fine. Desi and I get, and so they had their Christmas, we had ours, and a couple days after Christmas, Kay calls me and tells me she's going to go to Oklahoma, where we're originally from, for a big holiday gathering. And I was like, well, okay, and I didn't say anything. She said, there's a doctor that's at the party and everybody's being safe and it'll be fine and everybody's being safe. And so I don't say anything. And they go and I text her, "How you doing? You having fun?" And she sends me a video of them walking in the door of this party, which was supposed to be small, but it doesn't look so small. And everybody's screaming, "Merry Christmas! Surprise! La, la!" And I just see the COVID flying out of their mouths. And I'm horrified, but I don't say anything. And a couple days later, my sister texts me and tells me that somebody tested positive. And I'm so angry inside. I'm so frustrated. But I don't say anything. And they get back to Denver, and I talk to Mom on the phone, and she says, "Oh, I'm waiting for them to pick me up. I haven't seen them in a while. I look forward to seeing them." I'm just thinking, maybe you should wait until they've been back a little longer, and but I don't say anything. And the next day, Kay texts and says, "Oh, well, somebody tested positive." And I don't say anything because I know how hard she works, and I know that she cares, and I know that she meant well, and she feels terrible, and she texts and calls and says, "I'm sorry, I learned my lesson, I feel terrible." And I know she does, and I don't say anything because we're family. And I love her, and I don't need to be right. And nobody got it.
Oh my God, did you think someone was going to get COVID? I really thought someone was going to get COVID.